That's fine.
No, it's okay. I'm just gonna run and grab a glass of coffee. I'll be right back. Give me like two
All right.
seconds.
Well, the show started. Hey guys, welcome to Fireside Chat number 39 with the Angry Cock. I am serious. I'm your host Brian Martinez. He just stepped away to grab a coffee, which I'm totally cool with because I know I just had 3 cups. But yeah, we're gonna talk to chit chat with him a bit about what's been going on. So there's been an event today, just while he's away. Thought I would mention. There was a shooting in Munich at a mall. I don't know much else that's happened. Well,
I'm back.
welcome back. All
Yes.
right, cool.
Sorry.
It's all right.
All right.
Did you hear about what just happened this morning?
This
Munich?
morning. Are you talking about like what I can see out my window, or what someone might tweet me on Twitter?
No. They're in Munich today. Some gunmen went on a shooting. No, I'm sorry. It was on Friday, technically. Oh, yeah, that's today. Some gunmen, yeah, what the fuck? Some gunmen went on a shooting rampage in a shopping mall in the southern German city of Munich, and they killed and wounded many people. So, who knows what it is? I have an idea what this involves, but I'm gonna wait till the facts come out. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
I never heard about that.
Yeah, it just happened.
Today.
Just happened. So this literally just happened. I'm gonna wait and see what Kraut and T does, and also see what the facts are. But I have my suspicions. But anyway.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. I am serious.
Thank you.
And tell us a little bit about what it is that you do. A little bit of your history and stuff.
All right. You asked me to come on here and talk to you, and the reason I'm here is because number one, I normally do MGTOW videos. I am a MGTOW, self-proclaimed, and anybody that knows the name I Am Sirias knows that. I have lived extensively for a long time in Southeast Asia, specifically Indonesia, married and divorced. So I understand the laws of marriage and divorce in that country, which is a predominantly Muslim country. So a lot of people do respect and listen to my advice about men's rights when it comes to, well, let's just say the concepts outside of the North American mind, meaning Islamic and Asian. Which is why I think a lot of people do know my name. And that's probably the biggest reason. Mm-hmm. I'm nobody special, but at least I've had that experience, and I've had a lot of experience.
Yeah.
I'm not talking out my ass, in other words.
Right. Now, for people who might be watching that may not know, can you tell us briefly the difference, if there is any, the difference between Islamic culture in Indonesia versus what people mostly think of when they think of Islamic culture, which is usually Middle Eastern, Saudi Arabia, that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, number one, anybody listening should understand that this is a fact, and you can look it up, that Indonesia is the most populous Muslim country in the world. And what that means is that it has the largest Muslim population of any country in the world. And that's more than Saudi Arabia and any Middle Eastern country. It has more Muslims there than anywhere else in the world. And I think the population of Indonesia right now is about 350 million. It's about the same population as the United States, but on a smaller geographical scale. And when it comes to concepts of Islam in Indonesia that are different than, let's say, what you see on television, all I can say is this, is that coming from a country where when you walk out your door and your neighbor is a Muslim and you talk to your neighbor as a normal person like you would a Christian here in, God's country of Canada and North America, it's the same. It's normal. Your neighbor's a Christian in Canada, your neighbor's a Muslim in Indonesia. That's the way it is. And you argue about the same things. You see the world on a very similar level. You consider, you go to sleep at night thinking about what your religion is portraying as itself to the rest of the world, just like every normal person in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And those people there, they're normal people, man. They're normal fucking people. What you hear on television? Oh, Jesus. Well, I suppose you can compare it to this. The Catholic priests are all pedophiles, right? Must
Well, yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say on television, in fact.
be. Mhm.
And you hear it from atheists and stuff like that. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. No, they're normal people, man. Normal people
Yeah.
like you and me.
Okay. Just like anywhere else is what you're saying.
Anywhere else, man. Just normal fucking Muslim people. They have some of them. You know what? They still circumcise their boys because they think it's the right thing to do. They don't eat bacon because they think it's the wrong thing to do. So if you have a barbecue with them, you're not going to have fucking hot dogs with pork products in it. But pretty much besides that, they're just normal people, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And tell us about, you said that you got divorced and it had something to do with the Islamic sort of like laws or the laws of Indonesia, which is a predominantly Islamic country.
Yes.
What does that mean for us that made don't know anything about that culture or those laws? Is it basically the same as the fucked up divorce laws we have here in the States?
No. No, actually,
okay.
It's much better there. Much better. My God, it's so much better. I was able to get custody of my son because the laws there did not subscribe to these completely horrible narratives of feminist laws, where they're basically and call it what you want, but I as long as I had the money to pay for lawyers and to make it happen, I was able to say, look, I'm going to pay for your representation within the law. I can do it, and I want full custody of my son. Can we make this happen? They said, yes, absolutely. We'll make it happen, and it happened. Done. However, you have to keep in mind that even within the lack of feminist-driven laws, and I know anybody listening to this understands, especially Westerners, what feminist-driven laws are, is that you have to understand this, that even there, where the laws are not, there's no politically driven feminist laws when it comes to custody there. However, it is accepted socially by people that the woman is automatically the number one caregiver or the person that should take responsibility of the child. Absolutely, 100%. And that's not written into law. It's just accepted by society.
It's like an unwritten thing.
Yes, it's completely unwritten. But in order for me to get what I have now with my son, I had to fight that unwritten law.
Mm-hmm.
There was no law telling me I could not have full custody of my son. There was no law. But I had to fight it because unwritten within the society, traditional society, which comes very much so from the religious culture, was no, the mother is automatically the best and the only person that is responsible for the raising of any child. Done, finished, no written law, but it's accepted by everyone.
Probably not just, I'm sorry to cut you off, but
no, it's okay.
Not just the woman, as in the mother,
no,
but any woman.
Any woman.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we have that in terms of our belief system, in terms of just our general belief in culture, and it's in many ways it's in law as well. But
yes,
it definitely shows in our bias. Like, for example, if you're a man and you want to go into education or daycare or childcare, yes, that people are going to think you're a pedophile. There's yes, something wrong with that. That's why there are so few men in education at the lower sort of grade levels, right?
Yes.
Like kindergarten and so on. I mean, there used to be, I don't know if it's still the case, but I remember at British Airways, men couldn't sit next to children that they were not related to on the plane.
I believe that was an Australian airline, and I heard about that.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
I know. It's so, yeah, I mean, this is definitely something that is a bias that exists beyond, probably it's proto-religious or proto-cultural. Like it exists before those things.
Well,
and then other things are built around it, right?
You have to understand, in MGTOW circles, we tend to call that gynocentrism.
Oh, we use that here too.
We tend to call it gynocentrism, which means that the world revolves around the pussy. Yeah. And if you want to get away from that revolution, you really got to think twice, right? And that's what we call it. Now, call it what you want, but the concept of gynocentrism is real. It exists, and it exists in Islamic countries. It exists in Asia, and everybody. It's unwritten. Mm-hmm. Some countries, for example, some countries like Canada, North America, it's actually been written into law now. I mean, what was it? I just heard on the internet, and I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm sure anybody listening probably has heard it. Is there was somewhere in where was it? Somewhere in Europe where I think it was in England, where you cannot. Oh yeah. Now criticizing a woman is against the law.
It's if you're talking about the thing in Nottinghamshire, where if you catcall or talk to or wolf whistle at a woman, and she can actually deem it, if she finds it sexual harassment, they call that a hate crime against women. Yes. Yeah, we learned about that while we were visiting London, and we were visiting Nottingham, and we were actually taking a tour of the castle. And when we came out the other end of the tour of the castle, that's when we found out that this law, or this, I don't even know if you call it a law, but this thing came into being. Right. And yeah, that is an example of gynocentrism being put into law. I mean, the honey badgers do not pretend as though there's no gynocentrism. I mean, since they're mostly women, they know it exists,
Yes,
so,
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. No, I mean, you have to understand, me being a MGTOW man, and my experience and who I am, I learned about a lot of what I learned about when it comes to men's rights and the condition of the world today came through the people that you sponsor. I mean, the people your friends, the honey badgers, these women. I'm no stranger to them. I'm no stranger to what you do, and I'm no stranger to who they are. Yeah, yeah. I will admit that this is actually kind of an interesting thing, and we also are very aware of this too. We've talked about it a few times. When we talk to the people who like to listen to the honey badgers, and we ask them, and we've talked to lots of our fans and stuff, and we ask them, how did you find out about us? The 90% of them will say, I came across Karen's videos. And it was Karen's videos that actually enlightened me and made me realize what was going on. And I was one of those people that when I watched Karen's videos, it kicked me over into, really like digging into this stuff, right? But this is the funny thing about it. The idea that actually is what worked is in and of itself proof of gynocentrism. Because if a man, and men have made these arguments before, when men make these arguments against feminism or, talking about the problems that men face or whatever it is, we're actually people who are really blue-pilled anyway. I think that they're more prone to dismiss it because a man is saying it. And when a woman says it, then they're like, oh, shit, there might be something legitimate here. And well, I don't think you need any more proof than Ghostbusters. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, you don't need any more proof than Ghostbusters. No. I mean, you and I are talking right now at this point, and we didn't plan this, but it just so happened that the most feminist propaganda piece of shit when it comes to popular movies just came out, and everybody's talking about it. Everybody's fucking talking about it. Mm-hmm. And if you have an opinion on it and you're not a woman, well, guess what? Absolutely. I don't think it's not something you need to like rack your mind about anymore. I mean, it's a reality. The scary part is are laws written up to make this pseudoscience reality or not? Okay, where I come from in Southeast Asia, no, the laws are not written up. In other words, you still have an unbiased law on your side, but society itself will tell you that no, women probably aren't lying, you know, because they're women. They're probably not lying. You know, we need to be soft, you know.
Yeah.
They're not really as human as men are. You have to understand that. Not really.
Listen and believe.
Yeah.
They don't really have control over what happens to them. They're just eternal victims / incapable of agency / you know, only have the best of intentions. They're more enlightened. They're more empathetic, whatever it is. And if we started treating them well, actually, whenever you do try to treat a woman like, you know, like you would a man,
yes,
then it is treated as misogyny, which is
absolutely
interesting because, you know, that would mean that's why those same people would say, well, misandry doesn't real, right?
Yes.
So
misandry doesn't real.
No.
Doesn't real.
Tell me, speaking of that, can you tell me what your red pill moment was, if you had a red pill moment?
Red pill moment, very simple. I got married and divorced.
Yeah.
I think it's a red pill moment for most men, regardless of what country you come from. And this is why I'm so attracted to the concept of MGTOW, because it's international. I mean, I was an international man. I was an expatriate when it happened. You know, I didn't live in the so-called Western world where the concept of feminism was so politically driven. You know, I didn't live there when I went through a marriage and divorce. I was outside of it. But it was that moment. It was the moment of doing that. And then I suppose any man can go through that, but there is a moment where you kind of reach out, you know, you reach out and you ask for help, or you ask for information, or you just try to relate to anybody you can, right? You know, on the level that you're in. And then you do that. And that's what I did. But I was not in North America. I was in the Middle East. Or Southeast Asia, I should say. And it was there that I came into this concept. And the funny thing is that nobody around me in real life, in real time, was on the same level. I mean, there was no MGTOW
right
in Indonesia. Are you kidding me? Like, every man was ready to fucking slit my throat for saying anything that I said about women. I had no friends in Indonesia as a MGTOW man. Are you kidding me? No way, man. So the moment was simply the thing that most men go through, especially when it comes to marriage and divorce and child custody. That's it. Wow, I'm not a human anymore. I just had a kid. I just got married. I tried to make a life of myself, and suddenly I'm subhuman. What the fuck? You know, and you think twice. And that's when you look for other people that go through the same experience.
And this is in a country where your divorce laws and your systems are actually better for men.
Better. Much better. Yes. Yeah. Much better for men, because men actually, if they choose to, can use the law to help them have the custody. There's no forced. It's not like here. It's not like the laws here. And I'm not an expert on the divorce laws here or on the custody laws here. I'm not an expert. Don't ask me. I'm not an expert. All I know is from the friends that I have that are going through the bullshit. All right, that's all I know, and what I've gone through personally. And there, it was easy. It was like, I've got the money. Give me a lawyer. Fuck you. This is what I want. I'm gonna make it happen. Done.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So the divorce itself. Well, you're saying the red pill moment was just going through the divorce and the child custody.
Yes. Yes.
experience. Was it because, and you know, if I'm getting too like, you know, personal, let me know. But
it's okay.
Is it because of you know, did you feel like was it a result of or a symptom of the heartbreak from getting a divorce after making this, you know, what would seem to be a lifetime commitment to both a wife and child that was
Yeah.
part of it? And was there because some, you know, when men go through a divorce, or people in general, but I'm going to speak for men in this instance.
Yes.
One of the things that I often hear from them, these men that are going through divorce, is how incredibly vengeful and spiteful their wives become. Like they go, well,
Yeah.
their exes. They go from somebody who was essentially willing to, you know, make this lifetime commitment with this man, to someone who treats them like they are the worst person on the planet, like they're the absolute devil, and they'll do everything they can to ruin them completely.
Yes.
And that's actually a very painful experience for a man that has made that commitment to his woman.
Yes.
So is this, as an example, like, you know, is that part of where that came from? That like, holy shit, women can do this, you know?
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Absolute same. Absolutely the same. And my wife, my ex-wife, was an Indonesian woman. She was not what she's not what many MGTOW men or other MRAs might describe as a bittered white feminist woman. She was not that. She was a very atypical Indonesian woman with very typical values, very traditional values, as far as the roles of men and women. But the betrayal, the absolute betrayal, the moment of, I'm sorry, but you know what? I just wanted your kid. I'm sorry. I just, you know, you're a North American guy. I just want your semen. I just wanted your kid. And I'm sorry I made you feel special. Okay. But in reality, I just wanted your kid. And that was it. Yeah. And then, you know, and I don't know how much that happens here in the West when it comes to the same cultures, but I swear to God, man, I can tell you 1,000 stories of who's that has happened to as Western men trying to find the what do you call it? The oasis in Asia. You know, no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at the divorce statistics, that'll probably give you an inkling of, you know, how bad it is here in the States. Then on top of that, you take those are just for the people who got married and then had kids. Then there are countless instances of women who have kids out of wedlock and they force their men into child support. And there are also countless instances of women that have sex out of wedlock, cannot find the man to force him to pay child support, but that's okay because the state's going to take care of it. And, you know, you just, it's almost untrackable.
It is untrackable.
You know, yeah, because it's really bad.
Well,
and it's really bad for those kids.
Yes,
that don't have fathers.
It's horrible for the children. It's horrible for the children. And this is the thing. When I was going through my divorce in Indonesia, of course I had to eventually pay for a lawyer, and I had to go through the process of finding one and paying for it. It was a lot of fucking money, man. And when I went through the process, I made a point because I was already red-pilled at this time. All right. When I went through the process, I was done. I swallowed the pill. All right.
Yeah.
And I was going through the process. And I said to my lawyer, and she was a woman, by the way, a woman lawyer, very wealthy woman lawyer. And she was a divorce lawyer. That was her specialty, divorce lawyer. Now, I don't remember exactly how I got her number, but I did. And I remember talking to her, and I said to her, I said, "Look, you know, can you give me some statistics? Give me some data, please. I mean, how many people how many divorces have you done? And who wanted the divorce? Give me some statistics. You know, I was really dying for it. I wanted statistics, man. And she said to me, she goes, "No, there's no system. No, nobody keeps track of that shit here." She's like, "No, nobody cares. There's no statistics." And I said, "Okay, well, in your private office, how many divorces have you done in the last since you've existed?" And she goes, "Oh, I've done about a dozen." Okay, 12 divorces. And how many of those divorces were committed, started by the man or the woman? Like, what? She goes, "Well, actually, of the 12 divorces we've done, including my own, 9 of them were started by the woman."
Of course. They usually initiate like 70% or so of divorces, maybe more. Yeah, because they have everything to gain. I mean, yes. Why not?
But you got to understand, this is I'm talking about statistics from a country where they don't have benefits.
Oh, over there in Indonesia, right?
No, they don't have state-sponsored benefits for women there, but they still are the #1 person to make divorce happen. Now, the problem is with my own the data that I'm giving you right now, that I'm feeding you right now. This came from my own divorce lawyer, but you have to remember, she was a specialized divorce lawyer for celebrities. A lot of her divorces were within this what do you call it? Like the special section of society where people were like celebrities. You know, they were special people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it cost so goddamn much money to make what I had happen. I made it happen. But within her circles, she said of all the divorce cases she ever did, it was about, what was it? She said it was a dozen. 9 out of 12 was women wanting to divorce the men. It wasn't the other way around. I made a point to ask her that. And I asked her, "Can you give me any kind of data? Like, where do they keep this statistic? Is there any hardcore data I can take home with me?" She said, "No, nobody cares." That's what she told me.
Of course. No. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So, you know, I saw that you made a video. Mm-hmm. So, there's this thing that's been going on with MGTOW, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that we're talking to MGTOW, because I
you need to talk to me right now.
Oh, of course. No, we need to talk to
all you need to talk to me. No, I'm serious, man.
Talk to the people in the manosphere.
Yeah. You need to talk to MGTOW. I'm here.
Yeah. So this is good because I think that, you know, there's been a slight, it seems like there's been a fracturing or maybe infighting within the MGTOW community.
Mm-hmm.
About, maybe it's about what should it be, what direction should it go in, you know, who are these people that are infiltrating or whatever. And as the Honey Badgers, we do have a focus on men's issues, but we acknowledge that MGTOW is not something that exists for no reason, and that there is definitely a lot there of value to look at, which is why we talk about gynocentrism and why we talk about MGTOW as a genuine option for men that we think makes sense. So, yeah. As an interested party, mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you what you can say about this, you know, sort of, I don't know, what's going on within MGTOW, because there are, you know, some radical ones, and well, at least people are calling them radical, and then there are people who say they're all radical, whatever. And so, you know, as someone on the inside, you know, what do you know about this?
All right. Well, I'm going to say this, and I'm hoping that there are MGTOW men listening.
Oh yeah, we have MGTOW listeners.
Okay,
for sure.
I'm hoping they're listening, but I'm going to say this, is that I don't care. I don't give a fuck. MGTOW is not, we don't have rules.
Memberships.
We don't have memberships.
Right.
We don't give a fuck. Now, if people are concerned about what MGTOW men are saying and doing. Yes, I understand that. I understand it, and I get it, and I wish I could be a little bit more vocal in some degrees on that, but that's just personal. However, um, MGTOW is and always will be a concept and philosophy, a way to live your life. That's it.
A personal choice.
A personal choice.
Mm-hmm.
I can't give you rules on how to be this is a horrible comparison, but I'm grasping at straws here. A vegan, you know, like what am I going to do?
How to make out right?
Yeah,
basically.
like yeah. Come on, man. The point is this: is that we are apolitical. Number one, apolitical. There is no political party involved in MGTOW. We are about choice and lifestyle. And if anybody comes into our community and tries to force a political concept or a lifestyle concept or anything beyond that, then they're not MGTOW, because they're going against this concept of, look, to be MGTOW is this: I understand the difference between men and women, and I've made a choice, and this is how I'm going to live my life. That's it. There's no, there's nothing beyond that. And anybody that tries to push anything beyond that, they're not a part of what we're saying. It's very simple. And you can play this video for people to hear and listen to and have them argue about it. Please do. Because I know at least for a small percentage of people, they'll listen to what I'm saying. And even a greater percentage, I hope they'll argue with me. And they'll try to come up with some other concept. Because the point is this: be intelligent, be real. Know what's really happening. I mean, I don't know how to say it. Look up at the sky. What do you see? Is it blue? Okay, call it blue, and let's go from there. You know, fuck these people, man.
Yeah, right. And I've always thought that the hardest thing for a man to do when he's firmly in the blue pill world, right?
Yeah,
is to be able to live his life without doing so in order to please women.
Of course.
And I think that to be able to do that, to be able to say, because most of the time, most men, okay, they go through their life and everything is about, whether they know it or not, if they're heterosexual, they're basically trying to court a woman at some point. So like when they go and they, get a nice car and nice clothes, and they chase money and they try to, get a really good job, they're trying to secure their sexual market value. And I'm speaking in general. I know there's going to be some people that say, well, I'm doing it, it's not for women. I'm talking about, in general. This is what guys do.
I know what you're talking about.
And there's like an old Dave Chappelle joke. You remember Dave Chappelle, the comedian?
Yes.
He said, if a man did not need to acquire nice things to attract a woman, he would live in a cardboard box.
Absolutely.
So, when you acknowledge that this is what men do and this is the reason, and they use that to increase their sexual market value to attract women of a high sexual market value that they want, but if they can't get it, they'll settle. Because that's what guys do. You realize that their life revolves around, reproducing, carrying on their seed to the next generation, finding someone that's going to care about them and something that they can care for and protect.
Well, welcome to being a man.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. But when you find out that you can actually let that go, and all of the shame that normally comes out of doing that, like if you're a man that says, you know what, I think I'm just going to be celibate, or I'm just going to be alone, or I'm not going to deal with it, there's always shame that comes, right? They're just
absolutely,
like, man up, go get a job, or go do this. You got to go make some money. Don't be a quitter.
Now you understand the most underprivileged class in all of modern society is the lower middle class male who, if you're white, fuck, it's even harder. It's even fucking harder. But that's it. You are the lowest goddamn class that exists. You can't want to benefit yourself. You can't go out and say, you know what? I just want to make my own life better. Please. You can't do that. You're not allowed to do that.
It's expected that it's in service to something
Of course.
or someone else. And
you have to make sure that what you're doing is providing for somebody besides yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're an immigrant, possibly in North America today, I mean, hey, if you're born in Southeast Asia, where I came from, and you live there, well, it doesn't count. But if you're a Southeast Asian that just moved here to North America, you don't fall into this category because nobody expects that from you. They expect you to just hang on to whatever's given. But if you are like
fucking white male,
yes, you're done, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy. If you're not providing for somebody else, then you are a piece of shit and you deserve to die.
Mm-hmm.
What a load of crap, man. What a load of fucking crap.
And so to be, at least for me, I think at the very, very core, I mean, big talk can be a lot of things, but I think at the very core, my thinking is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that ability to free yourself from that and say, I'm going to do what I want regardless of what people think. And women are not the motivator for my actions. I do things for myself. And you know what? This is the ironic thing, because I do this myself.
Mm-hmm.
When you do that, women find it attractive.
They like it.
They do.
Fucking love it.
They do.
Love it.
And
it's incredible.
When a man says that he does everything for women, that actually tends to turn women off, except for politically feminist women that say this is right, but they actually don't want to fuck those guys.
Are you kidding me? Those chicks are secretly watching porn where the man is fucking raping some woman. They're watching gang rape porn. These feminists are watching gang rape porn. That's what they're doing. Man,
well, there's a reason why 50 Shades of Grey sold so many copies, right?
Yeah, man.
So speaking of feminism, well, go ahead. Did you want to say something?
No,
else?
Go ahead. You keep going. Right.
So speaking of feminism, all right. So, Indonesia, when you were there, and it's a largely Muslim country, it doesn't have
populous Muslim country in the world.
Does it have feminism?
No.
Okay. It doesn't have feminism. Now, that seems to be clear based on the laws, at least. If it doesn't have feminism, then do you think that women don't appear to have it worse there, though, do they?
No, absolutely not. Women have it great there. Everything is handed to them, absolutely handed to them. A woman in dire need has every opportunity for somebody to give her something, and it's not written into law. There's no subsidies for women or single mothers or whatever you might have here in the Western world. There's nothing there. But a woman with a child, are you kidding me? Men will bend over backwards to make sure she has what she needs. She will never starve, and neither will her children, ever.
Is there like a lot of men raising women who have children that are not theirs going on over there?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me?
Oh,
are you kidding me? It's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, because, and this is what I'm talking about. It is a cultural concept. This is not something that needs to be driven into the minds of men through law, through legal concepts. It doesn't have to be. It is a concept that is cultural. And men will bend over backwards for a woman and her child that is not his own. And he'll do it unquestionably. He won't even think twice about it. It's incredible. It is incredible the white knighting that happens in the
And
in the
is that
Eastern world.
is that like is that something that comes at all out of the Islamic part, or is that
Oh,
just
absolutely.
okay? All
It's
right.
cultural. It's religious. It's
Yeah.
absolutely cultural. It is so strong in the culture. Women weak, men strong. Protect, 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 without question. It's incredible. It is. It. I didn't have a lot of friends there after I swallowed the red pill. I stopped having friends. Trust me.
Oh, I know
That
the
part of the
feeling.
world.
I've lost friends too. In the West, yeah, I mean, it's no different. Once again, it goes back to that thing, once you say, you know what, I don't think I want to, I don't think I want to live my life revolving around people who actually don't give a shit about me.
Yes.
And they just want my shit.
Yeah.
And then they say, well, how could you do that?
You know what's incredible when you make that decision. The funny thing is, I don't know about here because I've been away from here for so long, but there in Southeast Asia, when I made that decision, you know what happened? Most of the women in my life disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, I don't want to spend my life and time with people that want to take me for what I have. And then suddenly all the women disappeared. I'm like, wow, there's no more women. It's just my male friends are still here because they don't fucking give a shit about what I can offer financially. It's incredible, man. The moment I made that decision in Southeast Asia, suddenly all the whores disappeared. Oh, where did they go? Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. I guess I'm hanging out with my male buddies tonight.
That's the funny thing about feminism in the West, and if you, whether or not it has taken. It is essentially female nature politicized, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it has taken, it's taken women's sort of predilections to their whatever it is that they're typically feel like they are deserved or entitled to, and it has ramped it up to 11 or 12, and to be honest, if there was something like that for men and it did the same thing for them, then men would likely be just as spoiled. If there was something like it, whatever the fuck you would call that, no, there isn't, because it's that probably wouldn't happen. But I'm saying if that we're looking at a steroid injection of traditionalism, because that's what it is, and this is feminism is not it claims that its whole goal is to, break traditionalist gender roles. But it's not doing that. It's actually cranking them up. Instead of, men that go to work and they, have a family and they come home to their wife who they basically pay for to have all of her shit. That's like the nuclear family dream of, traditionalists. You have the same thing. Men are still paying for women. Men are still taking care of women, and women are still the weaker sex. But now it's just done on a state-wide scale. So
the husband is the state now.
Yes, the husband is the state. Yeah. And the women and children, wherever the fuck they came from, whether they're citizens or not, are cared for by the state at the behest of mostly men that are actually working jobs and paying taxes.
Absolutely.
So it's sort of like, somebody in the chat said that it's like taxation is essentially cuckoldry. Yes. And, that is a good way of putting it. Yeah. And I know it might seem like a radical thing to say, but if you guys really think about it, and the fact that, this is something that the worst part is that we've deemed it as not just acceptable, not just okay, but expected.
Yes.
This is an expectation from people in the United States and probably Canada, although I don't think Canada has as much of a problem with fatherlessness, but I'm not really sure. I know that in the U.S. we have it really bad. So
it's the same, man. It's the same.
Okay.
Trust me, it's the goddamn same.
So one of the things that I was going back about the MGTOW thing and how we were talking about how there's kind of a fracturing. Well, this goes beyond that. Like within the manosphere, you have essentially 3 groups, but there are others. But let's say 3 basic groups of people. Essentially, all these are men and maybe some women that have taken the red pill, and they have responded to it in 3 different ways in general. Okay. One is they've gone MGTOW, where they just said, fuck this, this is too much trouble, I don't want to deal with this shit. Or they're essentially just saying, this is the reality, and now I'm going to take care of myself.
Yes.
Because I don't feel like anyone's ever taken care of me, and it doesn't look like there's any light at the end of this tunnel, so why am I waiting for some external force to come in and help me out when I can just go do my own thing?
Not bad, not a bad explanation, my brother.
Okay, well, thank you.
Not bad.
The second is the MRAs, right? And the MRAs are like, all right, this is fucked up. We want to change the laws. And we can see that this probably goes as far back as, early in a man's development as when he's born. Within a few hours,
I think legally the concepts of MRA have gone back before we've even written laws.
Oh yeah,
it is an incredible thing. I've seen it, I've watched it, and I think that our concepts of the laws that betray gender ideology, I think it's much more complicated than we are led to believe. Anyway, just wanted to say that.
No, I hear you. And so, like, typically what MRAs are trying to do is get issues, a light shined on them, right? From as early as in a boy's life as when he's circumcised.
Wait a second. That's the tip of my penis.
Yeah.
Did you ask me if you could take that?
Exactly.
Jesus Christ.
And from that all the way through to fucking, boys essentially being thrown in the furnace of war, to taxation, to single motherhood, to child abuse, to drug abuse, to suicide, to homelessness, and so on, and so on. And I think that at least, there's MRAs of all stripes, so I'm not going to try to paint them all with a brush, just like I would MGTOW. But at least for me, I think that even after all that, or in the struggle to get those things recognized, there is an acknowledgement that you can't really, like, just because you fight feminism and just because you fight the legal system and the divorce courts and all that, it does not mean that you're done, because gynocentrism is at the root of all of those things. And that's something that has to be contested. And that means holding women to the same standard that we currently hold men. And that's why I think
good luck.
I agree. And we know, as the honey badgers, we know that this is a really difficult task. It's like the guy has to push the boulder up the hill every day in the Greek legend. Yeah. And it's like that, and we know that. But we're actually, I think that we make a little bit of progress at a time, and it's not bad. Like the other day, William Shatner, the other day he used the word misandry in a tweet.
Really?
Yeah, he did. He was actually arguing with the Mary Sue on Twitter, and he used the word misandry, which was not even recognized. I know. So
that is impressive.
Who knows? We'll see.
Especially from Shatner's mouth. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?
He doesn't have a problem punching out women. I remember that scene from Star Trek.
No, absolutely, man.
But so that's the second tier, right, or the second group, and the third one is the PUAs, and the PUAs. I think I know. We're not going to really talk about the PUAs too much, but I try to look at it from a sympathetic perspective, and what I think is going on is a lot of guys that go with the PUA's system, even if they don't necessarily agree with the stuff that Aaron Clary and Rushvi say. I think that a lot of guys that go that route, though, what they do is they say, okay, now I know how the world works, but I really want a woman. So
I just need my dick wet.
Yeah.
Can I get my dick wet just a little bit?
So the PUAs are trying to game the system, essentially, to get what they want. Most of the time, the PUAs, they'll tell you in articles that you should try to sleep with as many women as possible. Yeah, but I think the majority of PUAs are just looking to settle down with the right person. If they found her, they would probably stop being PUAs. But they're using the PUA stuff, essentially their methods to give them an advantage.
PUAism is a way to basically masturbate the male ego.
Mhm.
That's it. That's all it is. They're jerking off to the male ego. That they've been sold. They've been sold this concept of the male ego, and that's it. PUAism is basically the sperm of the guy trying to tell you that you need more pussy than you're already getting.
Mhm.
That's it, man. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And I really do wish that most men would, kind of come to grips on that and just.
Oh man, but the thing is, like, it seems to me anyway that being a PUA for a lot of guys, that seems to be the easiest choice, because being an MRA is like
that's that. If you think that that's true, and maybe it is true, I don't know. But if it is, then that's something we need to question about.
Oh, I agree.
The male ego. Seriously, the male ego. If what's most important for us is to get our fucking dick wet from some anonymous pussy, I think we need to really question our priorities here, brothers and sisters.
Well, that's why I'm saying, like, I think it's the easiest choice, because being a PUA is the most like what the expected norm of the blue pill world is, right? The expected norm is that you'll meet a girl and you'll go on dates and you'll have sex and maybe you'll, maybe hopefully fall in love, start a family, whatever.
Well, you can't fall in love with a woman unless she fucks you. Sorry.
Right.
This is the male ego speaking.
Yeah.
Right here. You cannot fall in love with a woman until she spreads her legs and you've got your dicky sticky with her. Besides that, what's the point? I mean, this is the concept that needs to die. It needs to fucking die.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The PUA thing is essentially, it is the most, let me see. How do I put this? Biologically determinist choice of the three. The MRA one seems impossible to most people, because you're talking about trying to fight against gynocentrism to actually get the laws changed, or to get policies changed, or to get women's agency recognized. And that's probably the hardest in terms of the actual overall struggle. The MGTOW choice is probably it's
it's the best. It's the best choice. I'm gonna sell it right now.
Okay, go ahead, make a case for it.
I'm gonna sell it right here and right now. The MGTOW choice is the best choice because it's your choice. It's done. You're finished. You don't need to please anybody but yourself. You are, how do you say it? An aggrandizement. You are fulfilling what you want to be as a man and a human being and nothing more. And you know what? When you can do that, any other person that comes into your life, they're going to benefit from the fact that you are the best person that you could possibly be, because you're MGTOW. There you go. There's my sale pitch. How do you like that?
No, that's fine. I mean, I think that I don't have a problem with that. I actually agree with it. And I think that personally, that in many ways, MGTOW and MRAs are not necessarily mutually exclusive. I think that a guy can care about, and that's what I was getting at. I'm going to get to the thing that I was going to say next. Because these circles maybe sit three different ways, but and they can actually overlap. Although I think the reason why I think the MGTOW option is difficult is I think it's typically difficult for people who are more prone to the PUA stuff, because the to be able to walk away from women, they can't do that. That's why they're going with the PUA option. I think that's sad. Difficult. Yeah.
It's very sad.
Although there are some guys that claim to be MGTOW that also sleep with women, so I guess there is some overlap there too.
Well, this is the thing: is sleeping with a woman considered un-MGTOW? I mean, come on.
No, I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it is really. I think that you can, but it's not about whether or not you're sleeping with a woman.
Absolutely.
It's about whether or not you value yourself more than someone else. but whether or not you're going to put yourself first.
Not just yourself. You have to understand MGTOW, the one thing that defines MGTOW from any other bullshit concept that some other asshole can come up with is that it's about you as a man. A man. That's it.
Yeah.
How do you value yourself as a man? Not a woman, not a human being, as a man. As a man that is expected to do these things in society.
Actually,
that has a penis.
Yeah.
That you can hold on to, you can jerk off to as a man. How do you expect yourself to be? That's the difference, man. Really, that's the difference.
Mm-hmm. I actually think that you just mentioned something that I really want to touch on briefly. One of the things that, okay, so I'm a big consumer of media. Mm-hmm. I love movies. I'm an artist. You know, I used to read comics all the time. I love media.
I still read comics.
Yeah, I haven't in a while because Marvel looks like shit these days. But it's not. But yeah, I mean, just with the politics in there is just disgusting. I'm not going to buy anything until they get that shit worked out. But
we talk about that later, yeah?
We can talk about that later, yeah. Or maybe I can get you back on because it's been like an hour.
Absolutely.
So we can do that. But
we will.
One of the things that I have noticed in media, especially film and artistic media and comics and animation, whatever, is I miss positive examples of masculinity. Like I like to watch westerns, samurai movies, kung fu films. I like to watch what I call manime, which is anime with really manly characters, right? Sure, yeah. Like any of that shit. Gordon Liu, like 36 Chamber, Shaolin, fucking Crouching Tiger. I don't care. And all of it has a very even like Hollywood movies from the 80s, where you had guys like Bruce Willis and Schwarzenegger and you know, Stallone, and they were doing these films about you know doing what was right in the face of certain doom, and it was very much something that as a man I could watch and be like, God damn, that was the shit, you know. And it's something that's very attractive to me, you know, and it's just
done. You ain't gonna get that anymore. Sorry.
No, I know, right? Like, that's what I was saying. Like, have you noticed that shit is dead? And, I mean, it's almost completely dead. You can't find it anymore. No. It's like just being, just like positive examples of masculinity are just really hard to find now.
No. Sorry.
In media.
Done.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna get it anymore, buddy. I'm sorry. You're not gonna get it anymore. I don't even want to say it. I'm tired of saying it. Like I'm tired of trying to convince people that that's what is happening. I'm tired of it. No, I'm sorry. Look, I have a son, and he's my life, and I'm gonna teach him what masculinity is. That's it. Done. I have no hope for it ever coming to him outside of my own influence. Yeah. None. It's just not going to be there. Now, I'm not going to trust the value of my own son's life to the fucking the way they sell this bullshit in their movies. No, I'm sorry.
In the West, you're not going to find it, but like, you know, you can still. I watch a lot of import stuff, and you can still find it there sometimes. They haven't quite let go of it yet.
Keep trying and keep looking for your movies. Yeah, you can find it there. Hey, man, trust me. I know what you're saying. It's there. Like, I'm not a stranger. I'm not a stranger to looking outside. But you have to understand, as a father, right? As a father. And as a man, I have decided that my own son's influence as what he will understand to be masculine will come from me and no one else.
Oh, yeah. I hear that. That makes sense.
Yeah. That's it. It'll come from me and no one else. And if my concepts of masculinity fail, then I only have myself to blame.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. No one else.
Right. No, it makes sense. So you were talking about your son, and in your video, you made a video about how all men were once blue pill, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in it, there was actually a conversation or discussion about how important it is that MGTOW, but I think this applies to, you know, the manosphere in general, should be more sort of communicative, sympathetic, understanding of the male struggle, especially because there are the majority of men, let's just be honest here, the overwhelming majority of men are blue pill men.
Yes.
Just like most of them. And if you
my best friends.
Oh yeah, mine too. They're you know, this is not something that they're going to let go of easily, and many of them are never going to let go of it.
Yes.
Ever. Yes. And so, you know, does that mean we cut them off? Of course not.
No.
You know, and that means
cut them off. Never cut them off.
Because men need community with other men.
Yes. Men need to be, you know, there's a sharp line. The beautiful thing about men, let me put it this way. The beautiful thing about men is that men are unforgiving and forgiving at the same time. A man will say to you, "You motherfucker, you lied to me, go fuck yourself." You know, he'll stand by that. But at the same time, a man can understand the reason why his friend lied to him. There's this concept of, and I wanted to make a video about this, I really do, about the ability of men to be, what's the word? What's the one word for men being able to understand? Being able to understand. I don't think women have this. Well, just the ability to understand beyond just gossip.
Right. It's empathy.
Empathy.
Oh,
that's
men
the word.
have it. Oh yeah, men have it in spades.
That is the word I'm looking for. Empathy. Mm-hmm. Men have empathy, and that is what I wanted to try to touch on in that video, but I did not. It needs to be said again. Men have empathy. And you know what? I'm not saying this because I want to sell empathy to somebody. I'm saying this because in my experience, this is what is real. Men have empathy. They have the ability to feel what you are feeling right now. Mm-hmm. When you are hurt, a man can sit inside your trousers and he knows how you feel. If you allow him to, he will do it. And I swear to God, in my experience, in my lifetime, I have seen that happen with men. But I have never, ever, ever experienced that with another woman. I've never seen a woman have the ability to be empathetic with people around her. Now, call me a misogynist, call me what you want. But this is my experience. This is what I've seen and what I've understood. And other people will either agree or disagree with it. But together we'll come to a conclusion. And the point I'm making is that, in my opinion, men are empathetic. They have the ability to see inside the heart and the feelings of another human being, not just a man or a woman, another human being, and actually feel it and make decisions based on that ability. And I don't think women can do that. I'm sorry.
Well, I do know that, you know, when men are often described or portrayed as not having empathy, and all that means is the people who are writing that don't have empathy for men because they don't understand men. No. They don't understand masculinity. And when men express the empathy, they do it they don't do it by talking about it, which is usually what women do. They do it with actions.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to look at a video from after the towers fell in 9/11 and you see the people who are going through the rubble to dig people out.
Yes.
And all that shit, those are all men.
If you want
You know?
to believe that your life will be saved, then believe in the empathy of men. Because if you believe in the empathy of women, then only words will be spoken and no action will be taken. It's very, very simple. If you want to understand survival, if you want to understand why we still exist today, why do we have families? It's because men are empathetic. They care about their fucking neighbors, man.
Mm-hmm.
Willfully. And in a way that most women can't understand. They actually give a shit about the people that live around them. The empathy of men is something that I really, really, really want to talk about. And I don't think there's a lot of people that want to talk about it. I really don't. And I think it's a real thing. I think it's a very, very, very real thing. And I think it can be proven. And I think if you start talking about it, I think that men will wake up and start going, yeah, you know what? You're right. Men are empathetic. And actually, they're so empathetic that their empathy is the main reason why we're still here today. You know, that's why the women that left us are still around. Mm-hmm. We didn't cut their goddamn throats. What point would that make?
Mm-hmm.
We're still here. We make it happen. We survive. See, you know, I'm this is why I'm MGTOW, man. I'm tired of people trying to convince me that men are assholes. I'm just tired of it, man. Fuck you.
Right.
Fuck you.
One other thing too, and I thought this was a super interesting thing. We've also talked about this on our show as well. You know that there's been a lot of conversation about racism, xenophobia, fucking, I don't know, nationalism, whatever the fuck. Mostly racism, right?
Yeah.
And we've talked about this to a degree on our show a couple times, not just to a degree, a couple times.
Yeah.
And on one of the videos that I saw you do once, you had essentially agreed with the concept or said yourself, I can't remember if it was you or the guy you were talking to, that racism is really misandry.
Yeah,
it's rooted in misandry because it doesn't come from a fear or hatred of the women of a different race.
No.
It's a problem with the men. And, you know, we've said this too, like when let's say that a cop pulls over a black guy for driving while black, okay?
Yeah.
It's got a lot less to do with the fact that he's black and a lot more to do with the fact that he's a guy.
The fact that he's a guy. It's the fucking fact that he's a guy, man. Mm-hmm. Come on, man. We can test this theory. Just take any goddamn story where it's a black man and turn it into a black woman, man. It's simple. I mean, I don't understand why people don't get this shit. You know? You take the black man that was shot by a cop and make it a black woman.
Yeah. I mean, when real racists, let's talk about real racist people.
There are no real racists.
I'm just using it. No, I'm using it as an example so that people who are watching will understand.
Yeah.
They have a starting point to work from. Okay.
Okay.
When real racists want to other another race of people, okay, what the methods they use is they use fear mostly. Yeah. And the way they do it is they say, the men over there are coming for your women, or they're going to hurt us. The tribe, that other tribe, is a threat that we should despise. It's because of the men.
Because the men are raping your women.
Mm-hmm.
The men are raping your women. Are you kidding me, man? Like, why do you think we've been so devolved for so long?
Yeah.
Because stupid people like you and I have believed these bullshit lies that men from another border are here to rape our women. Oh,
yeah. Or
fucking
when even like with homophobia,
yeah.
when people have a problem with gays, they don't have a problem with lesbians.
No,
They don't give a shit about lesbians.
fuck that.
They have a problem with homosexual men.
Yeah.
You know, when people are afraid of transgendered people, they're afraid of men that transition into women.
Yeah, not women that
more
transition
often than women that transition into men.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think about the whole bullshit about the transgender bathroom issue. Oh my God, what happens if men pretend they're women?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's where the argument starts and stops. It starts and stops with men pretending they're women so they can do what men do. And that is, destroy the lives of young children because they're men.
Right.
But a woman transitioning to a man, no, that could never happen. It never becomes an issue. It never becomes an issue, ever.
You would have to already sort of like impugn malice on men as a group before you can even analyze any other sort of like additional descriptors, whether they're trans or gay or black, or Arab or Muslim, whatever. You would have to say men. That comes first, even if the people don't put it first. That's what they're thinking.
Yes.
That's the group they fear.
Yes, you can't say that men are the enemy first. This is what you have to do. You have to say, this is bad. And everybody goes, okay, that's bad. But how can we sell that? Well, just say that it's men. Boom, done. Finished. It's sold. It's sold.
Yeah.
Done. You cannot sell the concept of a villain if it's a woman. You can't. Why do you think when you mentioned to me about comic books before, and I know my comics, but why is there no real strong female villain?
Well, that's just it. In the days of like when I used to read them in the 70s and 80s, you could find a good mix, but most of the time it was easier to sell a male as a villain. But there were female villains. But these days, shit. I mean, even if they put a female villain in, they have to write in some kind of backstory to make her sympathetic so that she's actually not just bad for the sake of bad or whatever, but it's all motivated. And it's usually a man behind her becoming a villain. They did that with Maleficent. They did that with...
Until today, there has never been a true female villain. And I'll say that right now. Write it down and research it. Until today, there has never been a true female villain. Until today. Until fucking 2000. There has never been one. And it will not happen, man. Not in our society. It won't happen. You will never see a true female villain. It won't fucking happen, man. I'm sorry. You go look for it. Go. You got all the time in the world.
I'll look it up. I'll keep it a secret. You guys in the chat, see if you can figure out who it is that he's talking about.
Yes.
Unless you're talking about Hillary Clinton. But
no, I'm not talking politics. Let's just talk about a fake.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, let's talk about
comments.
Comments.
Yeah.
No, do what you said. Find out the true female villain, the true one, the villain that is not dedicated to some male master, that is a villain, true and true, on her own accord. Go find her. Go find her. I dare you.
Okay.
Ain't gonna happen, man.
All right, excellent. So yeah, if you guys in the chat have any ideas, put them in the comments section.
Yeah.
I think that we're good. We have a lot of we got a lot done. I want to thank you, man, for coming on and talking to me.
It was good. I'm glad you actually reached out to me and talked to me, man.
No, yeah. I mean, like I said, we want to give everybody a,
yeah.
We don't have a problem we don't have a problem giving people platforms, whether we agree with them or not. But I think that in a lot of this stuff, we do agree in most of the stuff. So, and at least some of it is stuff that I think is worth looking into and questioning and asking about.
Dude, don't be an asshole, and I'll agree with you. Pretty simple. Pretty fucking simple, man.
Right.
And you know what? I appreciate you reaching out to me. I appreciate you talking to me. And are you in Canada? No?
No, I'm a United States guy.
Oh, U.S.
Chicago.
Okay, because I'm about 2 degrees south of your favorite women.
Oh,
up there in the Honey Badger zone.
Like
I just
Edmonton?
came back. South of that, south.
Oh, Calgary?
South of that.
Oh, okay. So you're in Regina somewhere, or
let's just say that.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Whatever.
It doesn't matter.
You're in the area.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The point is, I'm glad you fucking talked to me. I'm glad you said what you had to say. I'm glad you were honest with what you had to say. And you know, cheers, brother.
All right, cool. And so, you know, real quick, last thing, I put a link to your YouTube channel in the low bar already. But is there any other places where people, if they want to look at, you know, more of the shit you've done, like where they can find you and whatnot?
Yeah. You can just type, if you can, in the low bar, besides my YouTube link, just type in www.gofuckyourself.com. And I think that might come up as something.
Wait, are you serious?
No, I'm not serious. Of course I'm not.
No, yes, you are. I'm going to go there now.
Yeah, go and check it out. I have no idea where that is.
I have a feeling it's going to be some nasty ass porn.
Yeah, it probably is. And if it is, trust me, I planned it.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. I am Sirias, Indonesian ex-divorcee MGTOW guy with a YouTube channel, Angry Cock, comic book reader, all that. And thank you guys. Please leave us comments. Start an argument. That's fine. We welcome it. And we'll talk to you guys next time.
Comics. Do it next time, yes?
Yeah, we'll do comics. Yeah, we'll do that. I mean, I'm a big one from like I read a lot of the books from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So I have a different, that was my shit. And now I want to make them. But all right, cool.
Comics are comics, buddy.
All right, sounds good.